The Somerset and Dorset Railway Heritage Trust purchased in 2024 an important section of the former Somerset and Dorset mainline railway trackbed. In doing so, they have ensured that this land, which is vital if the railway are to achieve their long-term expansion plans, remains available for railway use. The Trust has purchased the section running from just south of the Chilcompton Tunnels to the Redan Bridge, a length of some 750 yards, together with several acres of adjacent former agricultural land which had to form part of the purchase. An appeal is now up and running to attract donations towards covering the costs of fencing between the trackbed and adjacent fields, which must be installed as part of the purchase agreement along with other clearance and land management work, for which the Trust will engage the services of a specialist contractor. So, how has the project progressed? Stephen Jones met with Roger Burfitt along with Malcolm Barton to discuss how the project is progressing.
Hello, I'm Roger Burfitt. I'm Vice Chair of Trustees of the Somerset and Dorset Railway Heritage Trust. I've also been involved with the project which is the acquisition of this land here, which we now know as the Redan Curve. And in that I've been working with my colleague here, Malcolm Barton.
And I'm Malcolm Barton. I'm Treasurer of the Somerset and Dorset Railway Heritage Trust. I was involved in the purchase of the land from a private landlord. And we have now about half a mile of track and 6 acres of agricultural field.
When did negotiations for the land commence?
Well, it was partly a case of building up trust and confidence with the local landowner. So it started before the pandemic in roughly 2019. And I kept in touch with him over a long period of time until he was ready to sell the land to us.
Was an approach made by the landowner or the Trust?
No, the approach was from ourselves. We built up a relationship with the local landowner and just then kept in touch with him until he felt in a position to sell the land to us. We had to give him certain reassurances, and we were more than willing to do that.
The acquisition of land has been completed. Are the Trusts still looking for donations?
Yes. Currently we have spent in the region of £30,000, first of all putting up fencing on our boundary, which was part of the legal agreement, and also felling trees that hadn't been maintained for a long period of time. And we are therefore still looking to have monies to pay off against those costs.
When do you expect to see track being laid on this stretch of land?
Well, that's a question that's been posed to us by many, not least at our first meeting, which we had in public, where we met with the Chilcompton Parish Council, and we felt it appropriate to advise them of our purchase before we went public. And that was one of the questions they've posed. It's one of the questions that local residents have posed to us, and it's of course one that all our members and enthusiasts pose, and it's one we find very difficult to answer. The great news is that this is our land. We own this. This is the trackbed on which we can ultimately lay a railway. However, we have to recognise there are 2 significant obstacles between this section of land and the current railhead at what we call or refer to as Tunnel Lane. Those obstacles being, of course, the infilled cutting, land which is owned by the Duchy of Cornwall, and then the well-known, much photographed 2 tunnels, the 2 short tunnels at Chilcompton, owned by National Highways, but leased and have been leased for many years, and for some years yet to come, to a local gun club.
We would also like to do is to work with other interested parties. This used to be a double track going through from here to Midsummer Norton, which gives us the opportunity of working with cycle groups and walking groups to actually come up with a joint proposal, ultimately, where you have one track being used as a cycleway and the other for the railway. And that's supported by the two bores of the tunnel as well, which is a long-term project for us to consider.
Have you encountered any opposition from local residents?
Yes, we have. We've met, in fact, one local resident campaigned very strongly, continues to campaign against us. She also campaigned strongly against the proposals 3 or 4 years ago to refurbish the old Chilcompton station. Malcolm and I met with the lady. We were very well received, but her views are very much the history belongs in the past and should stay there. We've had this as a lovely open space, which we lack many of in Chilcompton, and to see it taken over by railway trains puffing up and down, as her words, is not something we would welcome. On the other hand, we've met many people here on this section of land here, walking their dogs and others, who have said, we look forward to the railway coming here. The householder and the land behind us directly, he and his wife are most enthusiastic for the railway to return. So it's a mixed story.
Is it the railway's intention to locate a station halt at the Chilcompton end of this land?
Yeah, in the end, we have at this moment in time no ambition to go beyond this position. And therefore, what we would like to do is to have a run round loop and a halt, so people can then use the local facilities here, for example, the Redan Public House, and they have a destination ultimately to go to. But, we've got to be realistic. We are talking long term, because the problems that we have to solve are major problems, and they will take us 10, 15 years to resolve them.
So, the medium-term strategy is to maintain this newly acquired land and work toward the clearing of the tunnel lane infill.
Yes, that's right. One of the reasons that we purchased this section of land was to secure the future of this trackbed, probably for those who come after us. It has a restricted covenant on this land that it can only be used for either for a railway or for public transport purposes. So in other words, it can't go back to agriculture, nor can it be built on. So we've secured the future of this transport corridor. That's the word I'm looking for. But we recognise it could take many years before that can be achieved. But at least we know we have this secure for the long-term future.
And I think in addition to that, we've also secured the future direction of the railway. We were given a situation where going towards Bath would be extremely difficult because of Silver Street, and it being almost impossible now to build a bridge going over Silver Street. And therefore, we have given focus and direction as to where the railway will be going in the future.